Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dive into Patrick King's work on persuasion and build a really powerful practical toolkit from it. We're going to break down the mindset, the strategy, and even the exact words you can use to be way more influential. All right, let's get into it.
You know the author, Patrick King. He tells this great story about his third-grade teacher. Picture this. She had to get a whole class of rowdy 8-year-olds to run a mile every single day in 90-degree heat. If she had just ordered them to do it, you know there would have been a full-on revolt. So what did she do? She got clever. She invented a challenge. She told them a rival 4th-grade class had dared them to see who could improve their mile time the most. And the prize? A pizza party, of course. All of a sudden, these kids weren't being forced to do anything. They were choosing to train, to get better, to beat their rivals.
And that story, right there, it just perfectly captures the whole puzzle of persuasion. Pushing harder, being more demanding. It almost never works. Because our first instinct is to push back, to resist being controlled. The real solution isn't about using more force. It's about being smarter. It's about completely reframing the situation, just like that teacher did, so that people actually want to do the thing you're suggesting.
Okay, so let's open up our toolkit. We're going to start with the most important step of all, the internal mindset shift. This is all about what you need to get straight in your own head before you even try to persuade anyone.
The first rule is an absolute game changer. Stop trying to persuade everybody. Seriously. Real persuasion isn't about winning over your biggest critic or your staunchest opponent. It's about finding the people who are actually willing to listen, the ones who are kinda on the fence, or maybe they just don't have all the info yet. That's your audience.
So the key here is just being efficient. Wasting your breath, your time, your energy on the unpersuadables, it's a losing battle. They've already made up their minds, they might be closed-minded, or maybe they just don't like you. Who knows? Your job is to quickly figure out who's in that open-minded group and focus all your energy right there.
All right, the second piece of this mindset puzzle is accepting a fundamental truth about people. We are all, deep down, driven by self-interest. Everyone you talk to is silently asking this one question. So instead of going on and on about why you want something, you have to flip the script. You have to frame your entire idea around what they get out of it. If you want to get what you want, you first have to show them how they can get what they want.
Okay, so once you've got that mindset dialed in, then we can move on to the external strategies. This is where we get tactical. It's all about how you can shape the environment and structure the actual decision to lean in your favor.
This one it's like a deep psychological button that's built into all of us. Think about a barista who every now and then gives you a croissant on the house. It feels great, right? Well, later, when she has a jar on the counter for a charity, you feel this almost automatic pull to drop some money in. That small, unexpected favor created a little bit of emotional debt, and it makes you way more likely to say yes to her next request.
Now, this is where it gets really clever. You can literally architect a choice for someone. And look, this isn't about lying or making things up. It's about strategic emphasis. For your preferred option, you talk up every single positive, and you brush off the negatives as no big deal. But for the other option, you do the exact opposite. You shine a giant spotlight on every single drawback and kind of mumble through the benefits. You're still presenting both sides, but you're framing the information so that your choice looks like the only sane, logical conclusion.
Okay, on to the final part of our toolkit. Let's talk about the specific language, the words and phrases you can actually use. You can have the right mindset and the perfect strategy, but at the end of the day, it's your words that have to do the heavy lifting and make the message actually land.
This is so important. You have to speak the other person's language. If you're talking to an analytical type, someone who lives for data and spreadsheets, and you try to win them over with a touching personal story, you're going to get nowhere. They need numbers. And on the flip side, if you try to convince a personal communicator with a bunch of charts, their eyes are just going to glaze over. You've got to tailor your message to their style, not yours.
The language you choose can be a powerful tool all on its own. Using absolutes like best or worse makes the choice seem really simple, totally black and white. Alluding to others, saying things like experts agree, taps into our need for social proof. I mean, if everyone else thinks it's a good idea, it probably is, right? And these ultimate terms, they're basically words with heavy emotional baggage. They subconsciously paint one option as good and safe and the other as bad and dangerous.
All right, let's wrap all this up with one of the most powerful and definitely one of the most covert techniques out there. This is all about getting people to persuade themselves, which is the holy grail, really, because then the idea feels like it was theirs from the start.
And this right here, this is exactly why reverse psychology works. It's fascinating. When you tell someone they can't do something, or you challenge their ability to do it, you're basically poking at their sense of freedom. Their ego kicks into high gear, and they suddenly feel this intense urge to prove you wrong by doing the very thing you told them they couldn't. The author's piano teacher was a master at this. She'd say he'd probably never be ready for a big competition, which of course just made him practice like maniac to prove her wrong.
So there you have it, a really powerful toolkit built on psychology, on framing, and on language. And these strategies work. They work because they tap into the core of how we as humans are wired. But their power, their effectiveness, brings up one last really important question that we all have to think about. At what point do these tools stop being skillful persuasion and cross the line into outright manipulation?